Dammi le chiavi.
Impariamo l'italiano piano piano.
Un impegno quotidiano. Ciao a tutti e bentornati. Welcome back to another mini episode of Impariamo l'italiano piano piano, the podcast where we take things step by step, slowly but surely. In today's episode, we're going to look at a little word that's been teased for a while now, magari. Then we're going to roll up our sleeves with another expression you might have noticed in episode 4. And finally, we'll revisit a fun question from episode 1. What should we call our community of listeners? Let's start with the clip. We're going to wrap up this episode here, but as you've likely noticed, this story has only begun. In the next episode, I'll provide the full translation to English. In the meantime, you might want to find a quiet place where you can feel free to speak out loud and have another listen to this episode, practicing along with us.
Sì, magari in una biblioteca antica, con il profumo della carta antica nell'aria.
Yes, that's right, Antonio. If only in an old library, with the scent of ancient paper in the air. Or did you mean maybe in an old library? I think both meanings of magari would work well here. Did you hear that? Antonio said, sì, magari in una biblioteca antica con il profumo della carta antica nell'aria. And here's the interesting thing. Magari can mean maybe, but it can also mean if only or hopefully. Let's look at a few more examples. Number 1, maybe. Maybe we'll go to the beach tomorrow.
Magari andiamo al mare domani. Magari andiamo al mare domani.
If only. If only I were rich.
Magari fossi ricco. Magari fossi ricco.
Hopefully. Hopefully it won't rain during the party.
Magari non piove durante la festa. Magari non piove durante la festa.
It's a tiny word, but it opens up big possibilities. Now it's your turn. Can you think of a sentence using magari? If you can, click the SpeakPipe link in the show notes and record your version. I'd love to hear your ideas, and you might even hear yourself in a future episode.
Fatemi sapere se vi servono esercizi di riscaldamento per la voce.
So, you want the listeners to let you know if they need some voice warm-up exercises? And just how do you propose that they do that?
Attraverso SpeakPipe, naturalmente.
Maybe that's not such a bad idea. Some quick warm-ups could help everyone loosen up a little before speaking Italian out loud. But right now, let's get back to Italian itself. Back in episode 4, when we started practicing the passato prossimo, I used a phrase that literally means, let's roll up our sleeves and get to work. Here's a clip from that episode to refresh your memory. If you're not too shy or concerned about what the people around you might think of you speaking out loud in Italian, then you're ready to make the most of this podcast experience. Enough talk. Okay, let's roll up our sleeves. Rimbocchiamoci le maniche. Literally, this expression means, let's roll up our sleeves. Figuratively, of course, it means, let's get to work. At first glance, rimbocchiamoci looks like a big, complicated word, but if we break it apart, it's really quite logical. Again. Imboccare, or rimboccare, to tuck in, to roll up. Iamo, we, the noi form in the present tense. Ci, ourselves. And this isn't the only word like this. You'll hear lots of verbs with ri at the beginning and iamoci at the end. Here are some examples. See if you can guess the Italian version before Antonio says it. Let's see each other again soon.
Rivediamoci presto. Rivediamoci presto.
Let's hear from each other again tomorrow.
Risentiamoci domani. Risentiamoci domani.
Let's get back up.
Rialziamoci. Rialziamoci.
Let's rest for a bit.
Riposiamoci un po'. Riposiamoci un po'.
Let's get back to work.
Rimettiamoci al lavoro. Rimettiamoci al lavoro.
Let's remember this rule.
Ricordiamoci questa regola. Ricordiamoci questa regola.
Now, you might be thinking that since these are all examples of the subject doing something to or with itself, that these are all examples of reflexive verbs. Some are, but some are simply reciprocal. If you look them up in a dictionary, you would not see an infinitive that ends with, can you remember? Si. Correct. Out of this list, the reciprocal ones are let's see each other again,
Rivediamoci. Rivediamoci.
and let's hear from each other again.
Risentiamoci. Risentiamoci. Oppure riposiamoci per sempre.
Let's rest forever. Antonio, even for you, that's a little over the top, don't you think? And that is not an example of reciprocal because in the dictionary you could find riposarsi, to rest oneself, so therefore it is a true reflexive. So maybe the lines begin to blur a little between verbs that are reflexive and reciprocal. There are reflexive verbs, and then there are reflexive wannabes. I wouldn't concern yourself too much with the difference. The important part is they all give us a sense of doing something together.
Va bene, va bene. Allora rivediamoci al più presto.
So the next time you see a word like rimbocchiamoci, just break it down and magari. It won't be quite so intimidating. Back to episode 1. Do you recall that I mentioned that I wanted to come up with a nickname, un soprannome, for you all, our listeners? Antonio had a few creative ideas of his own. Let's have a listen. Before we go, I'd like to let you know that there's a bonus episode available for supporters of the show, La Comunità dei Sostenitori. I've been struggling to come up with a better nickname, soprannome, for you all.
Un soprannome? Ah, tipo gli studiosi della lumaca? I lettori pian pianino? Gli amici della biblioteca segreta?
Gli studiosi della lumaca, the scholars of the snail. That's a bit strange.
Ma dai, il simbolo è una lumaca, no? Simbolo di pazienza, di costanza e del fatto che impariamo piano piano.
What do you think of those ideas? I was beginning to think I'd have to go with Gli studiosi della lumaca when I heard from a fellow Canadian, Paul from Cold Lake, Alberta. Thank you, Paul, for taking up the challenge. Paul sent in this suggestion.
Ah, finalmente! Un ascoltatore coraggioso.
Studenti saggi. Saggi, of course, is wise, wise students, and with an Italian alliteration. What do you think of this one?
Studenti saggi. Sì, ma io sono lo studente più saggio di tutti, vero?
Of course, you are the wisest of them all, Antonio. But what about this nickname, Studenti Saggi? Is short, positive, and it really captures our spirit of learning, piano piano.
Mi piace, ha un bel suono.
And now I'd love to hear from the rest of you. What do you think we should call our community of listeners? Do you like Studenti Saggi? I think it's starting to grow on me. Do you have another idea? Click the SpeakPipe link in the show notes and leave me a voice message with your suggestion. Non vediamo l'ora di sentire le vostre idee. So today we explored the many meanings of magari and revisited the question of what to call our community. And in our next mini episode, we'll return to episode 5 and listen to how the imperfetto and the passato prossimo actually work together. The imperfetto sets the scene, the atmosphere, and then suddenly the passato prossimo interrupts.
E quello è il momento in cui la storia comincia davvero a muoversi.
Join us, won't you?
Rivediamoci presto.
Tutti bianchi?
Arrivo, scusi, vedi dove? Lo sappiamo. Di dove siete voi? Canada? Bravo! No, quel pilastro.